How can $500 be divided between two people so that one of those people gets 50 more than the other? Okay? Okay, tell us the answer. Right. The answers are 225 and 275. However, though, y'all got to learn how to create the equations, because on this test, sometimes the choices are all equations and you have to pick the right equation. Okay? So even if you're knowing how to, like if you know how to get the answers, like the numerical answers, sometimes the equation will be what they're wanting. So let's talk about how to create the equation. We have two people, person 1, person 2. And we know that together they're going to get $500. Okay, but right now we really have no idea how much either of them are getting. We just know that together it's going to be $500. Was there anything else that they told us that might be useful? Right, does it matter which one gets $50 more? So we'll just say, okay, person 2, you're going to get the 50 extra on top of your X amount of dollars. Well, so now, no, those are adding, okay? So you can't actually add X and 50. They're unlike terms. You can add X and X to make 2X, and then bring down the plus 50. That equals 500. Correct. Now we start inverse operations to solve for X. And now we divide by 2, and so X equals 225. Well, if X equals 225, that's person 1. Person 2 gets 225 plus 50 more, which is 275. Okay? So this was the equation. So had the test question been asking for the equation, that would be the answer. If they're asking for the actual amounts they get, that's the answer. Yes, they're not numbered. The band leader wants to line up the 92 band members in 4 rows so that each row has 2 more members than the row before, Aaron. How many members should be in the shortest row? So we have row 1, row 2, row 3, and row 4. And we know that if you total up all the people in the 4 rows, it'll total up to how many band members? 92. Do we currently know how many band members are in each row? No, it's unknown. We have no idea how many are in row 1, no idea how many are in row 2, or row 3, or row 4. But we do know what? Two more members than the row before. So if row 1 has X amount of people and row 2 has 2 more than that, how do you represent that? Plus 2. 2X is multiplying. Okay, well row 3 has even 2 more than that, so that would be X plus 4. And row 4 has even 2 more than that, so it would be X plus 6. Now remember, when you add them all up, it equals up to 92. So combine like terms, and what do you get? 4X. Look, X, 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 X is 4 X's, and then your constants combine to 12. There's no 1. This is just an X. Okay, now we subtract the 12 because we're doing inverse operations so that we can isolate the X. And now you have 4X equals 80, and so yes, you divide by the 4, and so X equals 20. Okay, well 20 represents the amount of people in which row? Row 1. See how under row 1 was just the regular X? So if row 1 has 20 people, how much would row 2 have? And how much would row 3 have? And row 4? 26. So, but the actual answer is how many members should be in the shortest row. So the actual answer is 20. Okay, let me show y'all something. I know that some of you are pretty good at finding the actual answers, but maybe not as good at writing the equations, right? Well, let me show you how, if this were a multiple choice test, how you could figure out the right equation as long as you can figure out the numbers. Okay, so say we have like 2X plus 10 equals 92. We have 4X plus 12 equals 92. And then whatever. Okay, starting with choice A. if you take your smallest number and plug it in for x, what's 2 times 20? And 40 plus 10 is, so not 92, right? It's 50, which is not 92. So see how A did not work? Now if you plug in 20 into this equation, 4 times 20 is 80, and 80 plus 12 is, so see how if it's a question that's wanting the equation, but you don't know how to create it, if you can at least get the numerical answers, you can plug in the smallest one in each equation to see which one works? Everybody understands that? Okay, those are good test-taking skills. Being able to get the right answer, even if you didn't know how to do the equation, you can still figure it out. Okay, we don't need the extra comments. All right. A store owner sells 2 pair of running shoes for each pair of high tops. Somebody repeat that statement in a different way. What does that mean? Okay, Jamarion. So, like, what do they mean by that? Okay, for every pair of high tops he's selling 2 pair of running shoes. So, like, if he sold 5 pair of high tops that day, how many pairs of running shoes? 10. Okay, he's selling double the amount of running shoes that he is high tops. Well, right now, do we know how many running shoes are sold at all? No, so it's unknown. Do we know how many high tops are sold at all? No. But what we do know is if you add together both types of shoes, it will add up to how many pairs? 144. And then the first statement told us what? Twice as many running shoes as high tops. How can we represent that in the equation? 2x. You multiply however many high tops you're selling by 2. Okay? So now that would become what? 3x. And now to solve for x, you divide by 3. And so x equals, no, 144 divided by 3. 48. Okay, so that's 48 what? High tops or running shoes? No, look. See how x is under high tops and 2x is running shoes? So that's high tops. So how could you figure out how many running shoes? And that would be 96. But the actual answer, because the question is how many pairs of high tops, so the actual answer is 48. Okay, so now I know that you're done with your homework, but I'm not going to stamp right now because I don't have time. So get your stamp either at the very end or you can just get it Monday, okay? Next page. It's late either way, so it doesn't matter when you get it at this point, as long as you get it before I take up the sheet. Page 10. Number 1, the sum of 38 and twice the number is 124. Find the number. Okay? The sum means we're going to be doing what? Addition. And addition means we got at least 2 things being added. What's one of those things? And you're going to add what to it? How do you represent that? And then it is, which means equals 124. Okay, so that's the equation. But they also want us to find the missing number. So we solve for x by doing what? Subtracting the 38 because it's a constant value, a number without a variable, and so is 124. So we can combine them on the same side. And now we have 2x equals, and now what do we do? And so x equals 43. Okay, so let's make sure that makes sense. The sum of 38 and twice the number. Well, what's twice our number? Our number is 43. What's twice that? Does that really sum up to 124? Yes, so that means our number is correct. So do you see how, even if you're struggling with creating the equation and solving it, if you look at your 4 answer choices, you can just take each choice, double it, and then add it to 38 and see which one gives you 124? Okay, now we're moving into some stuff you haven't seen yet, so you really need to pay attention. The sum, which means add, of 2 consecutive integers is less than 83. Okay, so we're going to be adding up 2 consecutive integers, and it's going to be less than 83. Well, first let's talk about what integers are. What are they? Well, yes, but positive and negative whole numbers. Like just a whole numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Integers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and up, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So integers include the negative whole numbers as well. So these two numbers have to be positive or negative whole numbers. And if you're trying to add them up to a positive 83, don't you think they're both going to be positive? And they have to be consecutive. What does that mean? Right, by each other on the number line, back to back, no skipping numbers. So like, just give me any two consecutive integers that you know. Okay, but not necessarily those. Just any integers you know. Okay, 2 and 3 are consecutive integers, right? They're positive whole numbers, and they're back to back. We didn't skip any whole numbers in between them. Well, if we say that 2 is going to be called x, wouldn't 3 be x, which is 2, plus 1 more? Okay, let me say that again. If we assign the value of 2 to x, then isn't 3 just x plus 1, 2 plus 1? Okay, because to figure out the numbers, the first one's x, so the integer right after that would be x plus 1. Just one more will get you to the next integer. Well, but we're trying to figure out what numbers would need to be here to add up to right under 83. '81 and '82 are going to add up to a lot bigger than '83, though. They're going to be like 163, right? Yeah, 163. Okay, look. X plus x is 2x. Bring down the plus 1 because it's a constant. Is less than 83. Now what do I do to solve for x? And so 2x is less than 82. And now what do I do? Divide by 2, so x is less than 41. Okay, so what's the first number that's less than 41? 40. And what's the next integer after 40? What do those add up to be? And is, no, 81. Is 81 less than 83? Yes. Can you think of two consecutive integers that would get even closer to 83 but still be less? What? But those aren't consecutive integers. Those are the same integer. Consecutive means in a row, like integers are whole numbers. So there's not. Those are the two largest integers that add up, and they're still less than 83. We're going to do some more of these, okay? All right, number 3. Not right away, but we'll get back to them in a minute. A rectangle is 12 meters longer than it is wide. Its perimeter is 68 meters. Find its length and its width and draw a diagram. So go ahead and draw yourself a little rectangle. It doesn't have to be neat. Okay, what are some things they told us about this rectangle? It's 12 meters longer than it's wide. And, okay, so perimeter is 68 meters. And how do you find perimeter? You add up all four sides. Yeah, to find perimeter of any thing, you just add up all the sides. So when we add up all four sides, it's going to add up to 68. Well, to figure out the four sides, right now they're unknown. We have no idea what the width is, so you put an X. We have no idea what the length is, so you put an X. But what we do know about the length is that it's 12 meters longer, so I'm going to add 12 to that X, because it's 12 meters longer than the width. Now with rectangles, we know that opposite sides are congruent. So the side opposite of this one is this one, so this would also be X plus 12. And the side opposite of this one would be X. Now when I add those up, what do they add up to be? Right, 4x plus 24, because the x's, there's 4 of them, and 12 plus 12 is 24. Now what do I do to solve for x? So now 4x equals 44, and now to solve for x, I divide by 4, so x equals 11. Well, is x the width or the length? The width. See how just the regular x is on the width? So if that's 11, what do you do to figure out the length? Add 12 to the 11, and you get 23. So this side would also be 23, and this side would be 11. Do those four numbers add up to 68? Yes. Okay, I want you to try number 4. All right, the length of a rectangle is 4 centimeters more than the width, and the perimeter is at least 48 centimeters. What are the smallest possible dimensions for the rectangle? All right, this time the perimeter is not necessarily equal to 48. It's what? At least 48. What does at least mean? No, if your mama says, if you do your chores, I'm going to give you at least 48 bucks, you're going to get what? 48 or more, right? For at least 48 means you're definitely getting 48, or you could get more. So that's greater than or equal to. Okay, now right now we have no idea what the width is, and we have no idea what the length is, but we do know one thing about the length. It's 4 more than the width. So it's x plus 4. And then that means this side would also be x plus 4, and then this side would be x. To find perimeter, you add them up. What do those add up to be? Okay, and it needs to be greater than or equal to 48. 4 plus 4. Okay. It's okay. Yeah, it'll be okay. Okay, so now to solve for x, what do? And so 4x is greater than or equal to 40, and now you divide by 4. So x is greater than or equal to 10. Okay, since there's an equal to, we can use 10. So the width is 10, which would make the length 14. And so this would be 14, and this would be 10. And do those add up to at least 48? Yes. And we wanted them to be exactly 48 because they wanted the smallest possible dimensions. Had we gone bigger, it would have been greater than 48, but it wouldn't have been the smallest possible dimensions to satisfy that problem. Dimensions are like the length and the width. Okay, next page. Okay, I want you to try this one by yourself. If you are having trouble, refer back to page 10, number 2, and see what we did on that one. Number 5. Find 3 consecutive integers whose sum is 171. Remember, so we're looking for 3 numbers, and they need to sum up, which means add up, to 171. Well, 3 consecutive integers are like 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6, or 10, 11, 12, or 15, 16, 17. But we're looking for the 3 that add up to that. Well, okay, but without just sitting here with a calculator and guessing and checking, you can create an equation. So, look, if the first number is x, to get to the number right after that, wouldn't you just add 1 to x? And to get to the number right after that one, wouldn't you just add 2? Think about it. If we're talking about numbers like 4, 5, and 6, if x is 4, to get to 5, you would take 4 and add 1 to it. To get to 6, you would have taken 4 and added 2. That's how I got those terms. Does that make sense to everybody? So now I combine my like terms. 1x plus 1x plus 1x is 3x. 1 plus 2 is 3. And that equals 171. Now what do I do? And so 3x equals, and then divide by 3, and you get 56. So if your x is 56, your next number is 56 plus 1, which is 57. And your next number is 56 plus 2, which is 58. And those add up to 171. They are integers and they're consecutive. Okay, now let's look at number 6. Find 4 consecutive even integers whose sum is 244. So this time, we're adding up 4 numbers. Aaron, pay attention. We're adding up 4 numbers, and they have to add up to 244. But in addition to them being consecutive integers, they're also even. So, even if they're not the numbers to add up to 244, what's an example of 4 consecutive even integers? Okay, that's right, but I had already started writing 2. 2, 4, 6, 8. So look, if I assign this to the variable x, wouldn't 4 be x, because x is 2, so wouldn't 4 be x plus 2? 2 plus 2 is 4. And then to get 6, that would be x plus 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. And to get to 8, wouldn't that be x plus 6? I'm just thinking of even numbers. 2, 4, 6, and 8. I'm just talking about 3 consecutive integers. Guys, please close your mouth. Shh. Close your mouth. I was about to say shut your mouth. I just don't say that. I have a 3-year-old at home. I don't say that. Okay? All right. So now look. It's x, x plus 2, x plus 4, and x plus 6. Well, I'm just trying to get you to understand that a consecutive even integer is like 2, 4, 6, and 8. But those aren't the right answers for this problem because those don't add up to 244. They just help us understand where this comes from. Because if 2 is x, then 4 is x plus 2, 6 is x plus 4, and 8 is x plus 6. Because think about it. Think about, Aaron, visualize a 2 every time you see an x. So 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. I'm just making those up. Since I don't know the real answers yet, I'm just thinking of any 4 consecutive integers that I know that are even. Okay, so now look. I have x plus x plus x plus x, which is 4x. I have 2 plus 4 plus 6, which is 12, and then that sums up to 244. So now I subtract 12 on both sides. Okay, then I divide by 4 on both sides to cancel it out, and so x equals what? So if x, which is the smallest number, is 58, the next numbers, and the next numbers, and the, yes. Okay, I heard somebody say something wrong. Stop. I heard somebody say something wrong, so let me clarify. X is 58, okay? So this is 58. So this is 58 plus 2, which is 60. This is 58 plus 4, which is 62. And this is 58 plus 6, which is 64. Does that make sense? Okay, now let's do the next one. Alex has twice as much money as Jennifer. Jennifer has $6 less than Shannon, and together they all have $54. So how much does each of them have? So we have Alex, we have Jennifer, and we have Shannon. And all we know about them so far is that when you add up all of their money, which is unknown, it adds up to $54. Now, which one of these people do we know nothing about their money? Shannon. So we're just going to leave S as S for Shannon's money. We know nothing about how much she has other than she has S amount of dollars. Okay? Now, what do we know about Jennifer's? Okay, well if Shannon's is represented by S, how could you represent Jennifer's? S minus 6. Very good. Whatever Shannon has, but 6 less. And then if Alex has twice the amount of Jennifer, how do you represent his amount of money? Well, think about it. We've already represented Jennifer's money with an S minus 6. That's how we're representing. So Alex's money is twice that. Okay, so now what you're going to do first is you're going to have to distribute that. And it becomes 2S minus 6. and then you bring down the rest. But remember, we're adding all of up all their money, and it should add up to 54. So how many S's do we have? 4. And then what did the constants combine to? Negative 12, because negative 6 minus 6 more equals 54. So now I'm going to rewrite that equation up over here in the top so I have room to solve it. What do I do first? Sorry, 4s equals what? And now what do I do? So we've done something wrong. We've done something wrong. Shh, hold on, let me go back. Shh, let me go back and see where we went wrong. Okay, all of this is right, I know that. Oh, somebody tell me where I made a mistake. Thank you. Right here, even though I showed my distribution line, 2 times negative 6 is not negative 6, it's negative 12. No, it doesn't matter to me. 2s, I'm sure anybody watching this will understand how I could have got distracted. Okay, so 2s plus s is 4s, so that was right. But then when you combine the constants, it's not negative 12, it's negative 18. And then it equals 54. So now we'll add 18 to the 54, and 4s will equal 72. And then when you divide that, you'll get a nice whole number. And that 18 represents what? Shannon's amount of money. So if Shannon has 18, how much does Jennifer have? Right, she has 6 less. And how much does Alex has 24 because he has double Jennifer's. Does that add up to $54? Does that add up to 54? Do you see how, okay, say that on the test there's 4 choices and you have like A equals 24, J equals 12, S equals 18, and the next choice says different numbers. Couldn't you just play around with the numbers to see which one worked out according to the scenario? Like you could make sure they added up to 54, you could make sure Alex's amount was double Jennifer's, and you could make sure Jennifer's was 6 less than Shannon's. Okay, number 8. There are 3 exams in a marking period. A student received grades of 75 and 81 on the first 2. Okay, so the scenario is we have 3 exams. On exam 1, they made a 75. On exam 2, they made an 81. Exam 3 is unknown, so X. What grade must the student earn on the last exam to get an average of no less than 80? So, how do you find average? Okay, how many numbers are we adding together? Okay, and we want their grade to be no less than 80, so at least 80, greater than or equal to 80, right? So, now there's 2 options here. If you don't know how to do the algebra from this point, you would just sit here plugging in numbers so you found the one that worked. Or if you know how to do algebra, first you would combine those, and what do those combine to be? Right, so 156 plus x over 3 is greater than or equal to 80. Now, to get x by itself, you got 2 things on this side that need to go, but what goes first? The 3. No, it's trapped up there, because this bar, this division bar, is trapping it up there. So first we get rid of the divided by 3 by multiplying by 3. Over here it cancels out because 3 over 3 is 1. Then you multiply by 3. So 156 plus x now is greater than or equal to 240. Now what do we do? Subtract the 156. And so the 3rd grade needs to be greater than or equal to 84. If they make exactly an 84, their average will be 80. If they make greater than an 84, it'll be greater than 80. But to make at least an 80, or no less than an 80, they have to make at least an 84 on exam 3. Does that make sense? Okay, there's no homework for this weekend. You may switch out.